Now, again, the cross-site scripting is also a kind of a URL manipulation. Someone who's trying to manipulate the UI, right? The next thing is firewall settings. Again, this firewall is mainly for allow access from specific IP and ports, because this is typically called, this comes under hacking or attacks, right? Comes under attacks. NASA is getting attacked 5 million times every day because they want to steal the data. So what I need to do is I need to ensure that I will get requests only from proper places. Then in what way I can know that this is a valid guy? There are different ways. For example, now I'm opening Kaspersky antivirus software. Okay. Here, many things will have this kind of protections, right? There is something called the anti-hacker. You could see firewall and intrusion detection. Let me say go to the firewall. Okay, I go to the firewall settings, right? When you go to the firewall settings, right, there are multiple settings over here, because they could say should I block, should I allow, everywhere, or prompt for action. And you might have noticed, if you have got antivirus thing and you install an exe and it tries to access website, then it always say should I allow, should I deny, should I allow only for this time, or should I block it permanently? Because moment you allow somebody to do that, that is the basic problem, right? And more than anything else, if you come to the network, right, there is something called port settings, right? From which port what numbers are allowed, it is all stored over here, right? So they will always check whether all these areas are properly configured. If you allow everything, that's a problem. So you should have either block or deny. Again, as a tester, you may not know all these details. What you need to do is you need to just check with your system administrator and then do that. Now, if you go to intrusion detection settings, right? So, for example, sorry, 1 minute. I will just close this. Right click. There is something called network monitor. Okay, watch over here. This is a major thing, especially against attacks. Okay, you can always say, right, Firefox through the TCP protocol is accessing this IP address, is accessing this port, right? You can always say right click, right, terminate this connection, or you can always ensure, right, in your Kaspersky or Norton antivirus or Windows firewall, everywhere you can say what is the allowed port, what is the allowed IP address. You can set all these things, and you can monitor. More than anything else, you need to monitor. Look at this. This particular, from this machine, these host machines are accessed with this IP address. Then I can always say, should I allow this IP address to be accessed or not? You can set this. All these things, if you see his anti-hacker network monitor, this is available in every antivirus system, in every, again, it is, you need to buy antivirus and intrusion detection. There are two different licenses, most of them. So you need to buy both to ensure whether allow or deny access. If you don't do this, what will happen? Either you may lose control of your machine to a hacker, because your machine also has an IP address. And if you say allow anybody to access my system and somebody attacks it, you lose the control. Same way, Even in that case, somehow somebody placed an exe file into your system, and that exe files constantly start sending data. Your all the .doc files and .xls files transparently it is sending outside. How will you control that? So from your system also data should not be leaked, so block everything. So firewall settings and intrusion detection is the next level of security testing. So what you need to do is, if you are doing testing, create a system, configure a firewall, allow the port to access that, see whether it is allowing. In the firewall, stop, say don't allow this port to be accessed, then access your application. It should say we are blocked by something, please contact system administrator. Something should happen. If that is not happening, we are having a security loophole, right? Right? Yeah, one person has specifically said most of the times we will disable firewall. Is it correct? That is actually not right practice, right? For accessing multiple websites, we are compromising the security, right? Just for the sake of that we are doing it, right? People, they disable the firewall, but that is not actually right. Someone has asked how to test all these firewall testings. No, you don't have to test all these firewalls, right? Again, where are these exactly firewalls situated? One firewall is called personal firewall. It is there in your machine. Second thing is, at the server level also they will do it, right? At the server level, they will have something called a server firewall or server proxy. It will allow what websites can be allowed from your organization. In many, there is something called Hawkeye, right? There's a software called Hawkeye. If you configure at the server level, and I can always say morning 9 o'clock to evening 5 o'clock, don't allow Gmail to be accessed from my network. If someone accesses that particular URL, your Hawkeye will stop that. So you can have the firewall at the personal desktop level, you can have it at the server level, and which IP address can be accessed, which port can be accessed, everything can be configured. If you don't do this firewall settings, you can be hacked. When I say you, your machine, okay? You means your machine. This is the problem, right? So ethical hacking, there is nothing called ethical hacking. Actually testing the hacking part is called ethical hacking, but anybody who is not authorized to do that part, it is all unethical hacking. So as part of testing, we need to try block a port, block IP address, try to access. Allow the port, allow the IP address, try to access. Again, you can set from what time to what time I can access. Can it allow? You need to check that also. That is also part of firewall testing related. The next thing from security aspect is called encryption. Okay, I send the data through the web, right? It goes as HTTP protocol. When you send it through the HTTP protocol, right, data goes as plain ASCII text, right? Someone has asked, firewall testing, is it mandatory for security testing? Definitely. In today's context, everything is moving towards the cloud, okay? Every application is moving towards cloud. So doing a firewall testing or port disable, that proxy testing is definite, is a mandatory step as part of any web application. Yes. Right? Encryption. Again, HTTP protocol simply takes the data, goes as plain ASCII text. But take a credit card interface. Take a credit card interface. and you are giving your credit card number, the 3-digit code, your address, everything, and it goes, and then you are giving a password also, right? Nowadays it is asking for every online transaction, there's a password. Then how can I be sure that my data is not stolen? So in those cases, right, in those cases, data cannot go normally, it must go encrypted. So how can I take it as encrypted? How can I be sure that it is encrypted? Right? Hold on a second. Okay. I go to softsmith.com. Okay. And open Mentor. I go to the webinar HTML. By the way, we conduct free webinars. At the same time, for people who need advanced topics, we also conduct paid webinars. But the numbers will be, when hundreds of people are attending this kind of a webinar, maybe 10-15 people will be attending only this webinar gold. In our site softsmith.com webinar.html, you can see a link called webinar gold. Right? Currently, this we have started one course on 24th September. Every Saturday we conduct. It is going to end by this Saturday. Next one will be QTP, that will be launching a QTP paid webinar from post Diwali. Okay. If you go here, this is HTTP. Okay. Now here I can pay. I can pay to webinar. Now I say LR0911 and then click pay now. Now this is taking you to PayPal. Okay. PayPal is the one where you can pay your credit card information. Look here, on the browser, suddenly it has come to green with lock symbol, right? And if you look here, this becomes HTTPS. If you look at the URL, previously it was http://www.softsmith.com webinar gold. Now, the moment I click that, it is taking me to a HTTPS PayPal, because any information that you will fill in this page will go completely encrypted. Nobody can figure out what is happening. So it is a jumbled, crumbled data. And to test that portion, you could see the moment any encrypted area, you should see the lock symbol with green HTTPS. And there are many such encryption. Someone is asking, which are all the companies which are providing this HTTPS? This is called SSL, Secured Socket Layer. For SSL, Secured Socket Layer, this is for HTTPS protocol. Here there are many companies. There is some company called GeoTrust, okay, and there is some company called Thate, right? There are many companies, even GoDaddy.com. These are all providing SSL certificates. So you need to register with them. They will provide a special encryption software to you, and you need to install that encryption software in your web server, right? You need to install that encryption software in your Tomcat or Internet IIS web server. Once this is done, you can configure which pages must go with encrypted data. Not all pages need to go with encrypted data, but important pages where you get privacy details, you can always say encrypted. So you need to get it from these people and then install it in your web server. From then onwards, you could see the green and lock symbol with HTTPS. If you don't do it, obviously, if somebody is using this data, this is a problem. How can this become a problem? This is where, if your application stores some data in cookies, that's a problem. User is giving the data and your application is storing some of the data in the cookies. Where will be the cookies? Cookies is a small file, usually less than 2 KBs or so. Where data is stored, it will be stored in a specific directory. Okay. When it is stored in that particular directory, right, and and you open that. It has a data. It's a file. All said and done, cookies is a file. And unfortunately, if the credit card number and the CVC code is stored in the cookie and someone is hacking that particular file, he steals your data. But if the data is encrypted, obviously you are safe. Even if the person gets the data, he may not get it. So HTTPS protocol protects you from losing your valuable information while sending across the net. And unfortunately, if the data is stored in cookies, cookie can be taken because it's a file. Cookie is a normal file inside the specific directory of the web server, of the browser. And if someone opens the data, it has that information, right? So the hacking can happen through this way. This is called, again, for especially testing the HTTPS, you don't have to do anything. Only thing is, when I go to that important page, see whether it is changing to the HTTPS protocol with that lock symbol. After that, whether data is really encrypted, that is not our problem, because if you install the SSL certificates from GeoTrust or Thate or GoDaddy, they ensure the data is encrypted. They use something called AES 128-bit algorithms. Okay. Advanced encryption standards 128-bit algorithms. Nowadays, even beyond the 256 also is available. So they encrypt the complete data and nobody can figure out what is happening. So you need to test whether the data goes as encrypted, right? Someone is asking, how can I is HTTPS communication 100% secure? Yes, definitely. At least the data, even if somebody gets hold of the data, they may not be in a position to figure out what it means. So they can still get the data, but they cannot do anything with that. Then encryptions, which encryption algorithm I can use? You don't have to. They will have a it is decided by GeoTrust or Thate. We don't have to do anything on that part. Okay. The next part is called penetration testing. Penetration, as the name suggests, it is also kind of an intrusion. Where is it possible? Can I do a notepad penetration testing for notepad? No need. Can I do a penetration testing for Word? No need. So where penetration testing is applicable? Any application that has interface with others. Any application that has interface with others. For example, you take Twitter. Twitter has APIs, especially APIs. APIs meaning interfaces. So either you can come through screen. User interface is one interface. Through user interface, normally what we do is this JavaScript injection, SQL injection we do. But apart from user interface, there are something called APIs. Through APIs also, you can send mail, you can send tweets, you can post something, and one application talking to another. Wherever APIs are exposed and wherever networks are crossing. For example, two banks are interconnected. Wherever networks are crossing, interconnection happens. These are all the places penetration testing needs to happen. So as a tester, what should I do? Again, one person has asked, is this webinar enough to do security testing? No. In this webinar, what we are trying to do is give an idea about what is security testing. Doing penetration testing itself will be the lifetime work because there are people, right? And each topic, authorization rules, authentication rules. If you take banking application, branch manager can do this or that. General manager can do this or that. Who configures? Business analyst configures. But who tests it? That authorization test itself may go for maybe one full week. So Doing the testing will take more time, and learning that and mastering it will take more time. But this webinar will give you enough information on the basic part of it. Tomorrow, let me ask you this question. At least now, are you in a position to understand what is authentication, what is authorization, what is SQL injection, what is it, and what is the basic concept? Are you clear in that part? Can you please raise the hands? If someone says, do you know security testing? Can you talk 15 minutes on security testing? Do you have confidence now to talk 15 minutes on security testing? That is the purpose of this webinar, right? Many times people underestimate all these things, but if you ask a pinpointed question, where will I use encryption? You need to be in a position to tell that. That is the aim of this webinar. But each topic we can talk for hours and hours. Now, penetration testing, APIs, which is interacting. Now, take Bing, Microsoft Bing, okay? Bing has got some tie-up with Yahoo. This was news some times ago, right? So one exchanges data with others. Can someone intercept? When I say intercept, it's like phone tapping. You and I talk. Can someone intercept? Do you hear a crosstalk? Many times there are some crosstalks happening or distortion happenings, right? Why does that happening? There is a problem where networks do cross. Some data is exchanged. When that particular data is exchanged, along with that, some more data is also exchanged, which is not supposed to happen. When something extra gets exchanged, that causes problem. For example, bank A sends information to bank B. It is supposed to send only the account details and balance. And imagine it is also sending your passport number, which is unwanted, right? How do you know? So this is where the penetration testing happens. Wherever networks are crossing, can someone attack the network? Typically, network crossing and porting is taken care by firewall or intrusion detection. So this is already taken care by firewalls. But at the programming level, at the software level, under APIs, right? In fact, one person has asked a beautiful, amazing question. In fact, I am very happy. How can I write test cases for penetration testing? You cannot, right? It is not that easy, right? You have to do a lot more trial and error. Imagine certain things you can plan and then steal. But if you do not know where you are going to steal, you cannot plan. So it is on the spot. So it is mostly ad hoc and crooked. So you need to think like a stealing person. So it is very difficult to, in fact I thank this person who asked this question. It is very difficult to think of a proper test case, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. No. Authentication, authorization can be definitely written as test cases, but not penetration testing. So penetration testing is purely ad hoc. So how will I ensure APIs are working fine without this thing? So typically random calls with bad parameters, right? This is one way. Repeated calls. That means Twitter, let me open this browser, let me show you. Let me go to google.com. I'll show you something. Twitter API, okay? If you go to Twitter API, right? Hold on a second, I'm just opening some of the you need to understand what is API, right? To send a tweet, you don't have to go to the UI. Okay? Take some time. Now it has come. Getting started with the API. Okay, I'll go to this API source. Now look at this. Tweet entities, right? Now I'm going here, right? I'm entering this, and there is one include entities information, and it is giving a lot of parameters. The media entity has contained all these things, and this is how JSON means JavaScript object notation. This is how the data will come out. So what will I do, right? How will I call this, right? So Twitter is giving some documentation on how you have to call the API, what data you will get. Let me get a proper a single API, right? Okay, hold on a second. Okay, get statuses, right? Get statuses tweeted by me, retweeted by me. Okay, now I'm just clicking on this. This is one API. This is one API exposed by Twitter, right? This is the URL you need to call. If you call this URL with some data, it is going to return you some data. Look at this. There are so many parameters. This is a direct attack to that URL. You directly call this URL and then give some parameters to that. The moment you give these parameters, you will get this data like this. Now, the problem is, right? The problem comes here. Can anyone give the data? I am Nagarajan. You may be John. John trying to get the tweets sent by me. Can he do that? What is the authentication mechanism? If someone is stealing my data without UI, how will I know? That is called penetration, right? Trying to access APIs. I'm not much worried about the network access, because network access is taken care by firewalls, other stuff. Application level intrusions, trying to access APIs by unknown callers. So we need to write programs to call those APIs with bad parameters, repeatedly call again and again, maybe in a loop. For example, 1 to 1000 in a loop, keep on accessing all the people's information. That, whether your system allows that. Should the system allow or not? Some systems are open, some systems are private. How are we preventing that? That is called, right? Someone is saying, is it not hacking? Hacking is everything. The moment you get access to somebody else's possession, that is called hacking. Hacking doesn't mean I should get control of your computer. No need. If I come to know about an information about you which is I am not supposed to know, that itself is hacking, right? So hacking doesn't mean I should get control of your machine. It need not be. The moment I get some of your data, that itself is hacking. Okay. So most of the times these penetration tests are automated, right? These are all automated. But how will I do? Again, as I said, there is no way. For example, this particular API, Twitter would have tested it again and again. They will call this way. Now, if I am giving different parameters, right? What will it return? Without authentic, should I do it with proper user ID password? That is called penetration testing. Again, this is a very basic thing. There is one more level penetration testing, right?